Welcome back to Leaving Cert Plus. This is lesson 1.15 where we look at the amplitude factor. If we look at the green function to start off with f of x, if we factorize here, we're going to get x and x, 4 and 1, with a minus 1 and a positive 4. So x is equal to 1 and x is equal to minus 4. They're your two roots. So that's minus 4 here and that's 1 there. Now if you look at g of x in comparison to f of x, g of x has just been multiplied by 2. So every one of these terms has just been multiplied by 2 to form the equation g of x. And that 2 is the amplitude factor. It's basically what you multiplied one function by to get to the next. And it's the number before your x squared, so that a figure, that is your amplitude factor. So if we had something like minus 3x squared and then minus 9x plus 12, you can see that we've multiplied all of the terms by minus 3, so minus 3 there is your amplitude factor. You can always tell the amplitude factor by the a figure, the one before the x squared. But what we want to notice about the amplitude factor, when you look at the difference between f of x and g of x represented on the graph, you can see the roots stay the same. So if we factorize what we had here, if you're looking for the roots, you're going to put that equal to 0. And putting that equal to 0, you can just divide across by 2 to find x squared plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0, and you end up back here. So you're going to find that the roots are equal to 1 and minus 4. So the roots stay the same, but the y-intercept, you can see that changes. So the amplitude factor changes the y-intercept, but it keeps the roots the same. And that's something you need to take away from this lesson. The roots stay the same, but the y-intercept changes with an amplitude factor. So on that basis, if you keep in mind what we done in the last question, or in the last video, when we took the roots and calculated the equation from the roots, and just confirmed with the y-intercept that this was the correct equation, I want you to try find the equation of this curve. So pause the video and give this one a go. So first of all, let's deal with the roots. So x is equal to minus 1 and x is equal to 5. So we've got x plus 1 is equal to 0. That's one factor. And x minus 5 is another factor. We had that equal to 0. So let's combine these factors, multiplying them together to try to come up with the final product. So multiplying them out, we got x squared. You got minus 5x plus 1x minus 5. So that's x squared minus 4x minus 5. So now this is the equation we're dealing with. But you can see that this equation tells us that the y-intercept is at minus 5, but on our graph, in actual fact, it is minus 10. So what do we need to do to minus 5 to get to minus 10? We have to multiply by 2. So it's going to be 2x squared, multiplying across by 2, minus 8x, minus 10, and that's your equation, f of x, that's represented on the graph. So you go off that c value, your y-intercept, what you need to do to your equation to make it match the graph. Let's try another example. Pause the video and give this one a go. So using our roots again, you've got x is equal to minus 2 and x is equal to 6. So that means that x plus 2 is a factor and x minus 6 is also a factor. So let's multiply those factors together. So that's going to be x squared. You've got minus 6x plus 2x minus 12. So that's going to be x squared minus 4x minus 12. So now this is the equation we're dealing with, and you have to see, does that y-intercept match what we have on the graph? You can see it doesn't. So we've got positive 12 on the graph, but we've got minus 12 on our equation. So what do we need to do? We need to multiply by minus 1. So that there is our amplitude factor. So our actual equation is minus x squared plus 4x plus 12 is f of x. So what you need to multiply by, that is your amplitude factor, which would be minus 1 in this case. Let's try one more example. So pause the video and give this one a go. So using our roots again, we've got x is equal to minus 3, x is equal to 9. So x plus 3 is a factor, and x minus 9 is also a factor. So multiplying them together, you got x plus 3 multiplied by x minus 9. That's x squared minus 9x plus 3x minus 27. So you've got x squared minus 6x minus 27. So this is what we're dealing with. If you look at the y-intercept on our function in comparison to the graph is 54 positive and our function is minus 27. So we're going to have to multiply by a negative number anyways, because we want to make that positive 54. So if you multiply 27 by 2, that's going to give you 54. So let's multiply by minus 2 to make that a positive 54. So minus 2x squared plus 12x plus 54. That's your equation. Okay, so what do we need to multiply by? That was multiply by minus 2. So minus 2 in this case would be your amplitude factor. And that concludes this lesson on amplitude factors. The key take home is that the amplitude factor Doesn't change the roots, they stay the same, but the y-intercept is going to change. That's all for lesson 1.15. Thanks for watching Leaving Cert Plus. I'll see you again in lesson 1.16.
If you like this video, you'll love our notes. You can get some for free in the link in the description of this video.